welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void WCS Spring Championships here at DreamHack Zowie Open Tours. We are just about ready to get back into that first game. Of course, we had a little bit of internet troubles. As you might have seen, the stream might have gone down for y'all, but don't worry. The StarCraft game is still going to happen. It did not play out while you weren't here. We promise.
I would be sad if they missed our amazing dialogue, though.
Yeah, that would be tragic. So as you can see, look at that. Voila! StarCraft.
The game.
It is here. We already introed the players. Want to do it again?
No, let's not do it again.
Okay.
I was just smiling a little bit while the camera got back to us because I looked on the right and I saw the preview screen of the French cast. And look at that young man on the right.
Oh, yeah.
It's Lil Bo.
Lil Bo. So he cast some PvZ?
Yeah, that's awesome. Actually, Lil Bo, I've heard, I was talking a little bit with Lil Bo and he said he was going to try to stream a little bit more soon. Nice. But he said I would always stream in French because he said I'm actually very funny in French, but not in English.
That's true, man. I'll tell you what, man. Especially he casts, you cast your own race, man, in English, you become the most biased person in the world. You got to be real careful about that.
Wow, Nate.
You got to be real careful, Kev. I got your back, though. It's all good.
I think I'm good. I can appreciate good play of all races, Nathan.
Aw. I tried that.
All right, so let's keep a close eye on these build orders. Frozen Temple was a map that they played as well. Of course, the DreamHack Austin. If I recall correctly, Hydra won that game after denying the third base. It got very close. Neeb counterattack with like Immortals and Adepts on the top side of the map was actually able to deny. And it became an incredibly close game where one moment we all thought like, man, if Neeb had a Dark Shrine right now, he could win. But then Hydra was like, if Neeb has a Dark Shrine right now, he could win. So he made like 3 overseers.
He had like 4 or 5 overseers. That final attack is just like, nope, not losing my Hydralisks.
That was awesome. And there was no Dark Shrine, but it was just really funny to see how... He
almost squeezed that top right base in too. Yeah, I remember all that. That was that grand final in Austin was so great.
I know. Like, I actually spoke with a couple of people that said, like, that was kind of a one-sided final, a little boring. I was like, what? I was like, no. They're like,
you don't appreciate StarCraft enough to thought that was one-sided.
No, I really did not think it was boring or one-sided. And obviously, we've had our fair share of boring finals over the years. Like, I'm the first to admit it. You know, I'm not going to say that the game was phenomenal if it wasn't, but I enjoyed that finals. Like, I never really felt it was over till that final moment, even game 6.
That final moment when they had a bajillion Hydralisks killing all of his Void Rays. That's pretty much it.
Wow.
So, start of this game, these couple Lings get in, managed to grab his probe and see the Twilight Council. This is a super important read. Of course, Resonating Gleaves is on the way. But this is something that Hydra's going to key into since, of course, a really big gateway attack seems to be a possible follow-up for this.
Did we not have a single Zealot or Adept on the map yet? Like, no, I guess this talk was the first opening. Kind of a greedy opening over here. Well, he had an Adept. He just handed it across the map, I guess. And it got picked off by Speedlings. So I don't really like this opening then, because if you go for the Resonating Glaives, then obviously you want to keep every Adept alive. Yeah. Losing one already takes quite a bit of firepower out of whatever potential push you're going for. Safe to say, this is a solid opening for Hydra already, Nate. Like picking off a probe, knowing exactly what you're playing against without having to research Overlord speed and killing an Adept. Well,
that's a big deal.
Yeah, hell yeah. Like if I was a Zerg right now, I'd be like, cash money, baby.
All right, well, let's see if he can turn that cash money into something else as he has his lair coming in. Resonating Glaives is close to finishing as Warp Gate's done. The robotics facility is finishing too, and the Mothership Core is halfway done. So is he going to try to make this play onto the third base? He's had that Chrono on Resonating Glaives the whole time. Maybe a little bit of harass on the side?
It could be. It could also just be that Neeb is paranoid about Hydra making a ridiculous amount of links again. So he just feels that if you decide to make a whole bunch of links and try to deny my third base, it is not going to happen. Because there's nothing really that's better against Zerglings in this phase of the game than Adept with those Resonating Glaives. Like, they're amazing.
Yeah, I mean, they one-shot Lings when you have 2 of them. So you just kind of bunch them all up together, of course. You basically get the advantage that Terran has when you put a bunch of Marines clumped up. So the Zerglings can't really surround him and pick him off.
Well, he is going to make a move across the map. And this is once again why I said it was kind of painful that he already lost an Adept, because 6 or 7 Adepts does make a reasonable difference, believe it or not. He's got to be very careful here, Nate. There are already Roaches on the way. Of course, with a push like this, you always force your opponent to make Roaches. Is he going to let that finish? Yeah, he will let it finish.
Fight these Zerglings head-to-head on the ramp of Hydra. Keep in mind, as you mentioned, Roddy, those Roaches do finish up. One of the Adepts on the low ground does get eaten now. The teleport is going to be sent towards the third, so I think you go in here, kill a drone, teleport over, and get some work done, but cancels the shadow.
Wow, I'm not sure about this one, because that means he's going to lose a whole bunch of Adepts. He does take down 4 or 5, 6 drones in the process, but
every Adept dies?
Yeah, I'm not... no,
Prism is here, too, and it's like, well... What?
It's not really synced up, though. I mean, okay, he's doing a lot of damage. I mean, let's focus on that. That was...
Don't lose the Prism, though.
8 drones.
11 health on that bad boy.
I'm not sure how I feel about it. He picked off a couple of links, 8 drones.
He's ahead 48 to 45, but I'm sure there's probably drones in the production tab right now, right? Unless Hydra's going for a massive counter.
Does he have an eye? I mean, Photon Overcharge is good enough here. He can always warp in a few defensive adepts as well. Maybe that was worth it. I always get a little bit scared when I see that many adepts dying for a Protoss, but I think overall, maybe that was alright. He also picked off quite a few links. Seems like we have another spike over here, unfortunately.
Not good, of course. A very tense moment. Players trying to do their best to control their units in this situation.
Interesting. Like, I'm trying to, you know, crunch the numbers, as In Control would say. I think it was solid defense by Hydra. I really would have wondered what happened when he had those adepts in the main, if he would have shaded towards the third base, because the roaches were out of position. I think he gets more than the 5 drones he ended up killing in the main base there.
I agree. There was just the queen there and a bunch of drones.
Yeah.
And the roaches are going to move much more slowly than the lings, and of course the adepts can actually kill the lings.
Yeah, and once again, if they're already there and the roaches have to walk all the way towards the third base, you can almost shade again.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think there was a higher potential there, but overall still pretty solid though. Definitely don't want to be overly critical here, because he got some work done, but it wasn't for free.
Yeah, a little bit rough here having to deal with these delays, of course, as the players trying to get everything together. I do believe there's still that first match of the day that's on the way on the second stream. You
missed a ridiculous game, and this goes for everybody that has only been watching the main stream. I tweeted a little bit about it. Guys, if you're a little bit bored later, go watch the B-Stream VOD and take a look at Showtime versus Guru, Game 2 on Dust Towers. Now, I've seen a lot of StarCraft 2 games in my life. The casting was obviously great with Jeff and Tom.
Yeah.
Like any game that's a little bit out of the ordinary, and Jeff's casting, you know you're in for a treat because it's going to be funny. But what a silly, ridiculous game.
All right.
Game 2, guys. Game 2 of Guru versus Showtime.
Definitely worth checking out. We are back in the game. Mothership Core is going to push these forces away as that Warp Prism makes its way across the map again.
And during all of this, we haven't really been paying attention to it, but our Observer is on top of it. That's a very fast Lurker Den. Once again, guys, this is a Lurker Den morphing before those muscular augments. That means that Hydra has 1 speed, 1 gear, go. He wants to get a couple of Lurkers out and most likely run across the map and siege up that third base of Neeb. And dealing with Lurkers when you don't have Immortals or you've got like one of them, it's rough, man. It's really, really rough.
Yeah, so we're going to have to see how much of a play he can make off this. Maybe the Warp Prism can continue to put some dents in.
The Warp Prism
he just got it. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Was there something in it? Did we have cargo?
We have 3 adepts inside.
Ow.
Yeah.
Okay, we do already have 2 Immortals. We got force field as well. The most important thing here for Neeb is that he scouts. Did Neeb see that Hydra Den morphing into a Lurker Den? Can we? Ooh, no, he did not.
Doesn't even know about the Hydra Den.
Yeah, I mean, well, he saw Hydralisk.
Well,
it's a pretty good.
Okay. Reasonably, this is why you're here with me, Roddy. All right, I'm just trying to create tension, create hype.
No, it's all good. But I mean, obviously, not knowing about this super fast Lurker Den, that is a problem. I mean,
that matters.
I'm sure that he still has this game of Runes of Endian, the grand final of DreamHack Austin, fresh in his mind. So he may be thinking about it, but knowing is a lot nicer than just thinking about it.
Yeah, that's true. Having some concrete information to work with would be ideal for Neeb as he picks off that Zergling, but the Hydralisk upgrade is now on the way out of that Lurker Den. We already have, I think, at least 5 Lurkers or so on the map. Those are very difficult to deal with, even in low numbers.
Absolutely. Good scouting there by Neeb, having that Adept running around, shading around. He's going to spot those Lurkers. The Lurkers will be forced up to siege from pretty far away. They will be able to make their way through these rocks very quickly. The second Robo is being warped in right now. First Disruptor is on the way, Nate.
Disruptor is super important. I mean, if he can jump on top of these before they can get into a good position, that's very important. Observer is in position. There's nothing else here. It's just the Lurkers. But you have to be super careful taking an engagement against them.
Go for it. Good micro. Use those barriers.
Baby.
There you go.
Yeah, the Immortal step forward, pick off one, get the second one.
That's good.
And now those Lurkers, you know, as they increase in numbers, they scale super well. The Lings get force fielded inside. 2 Lurkers do advance. Hydra's hitting from multiple different directions as the Immortal's getting very low.
Pretty solid hold so far, though, by Neeb.
And the Disruptor's out.
I'm quite impressed. I mean, the Disruptor hits are going to be very important. Should connect with both Lurkers. Good move there by Hydra. I love it with the quick on seat. Man, both players playing very well so far, Nate. I'm loving this.
This is what we expect out of these 2 guys going head-to-head. Disruptor does get picked off, moving a little bit too close forward as the force field snag a couple Hydralisks, but Did the Hydras pick off that observer? Where is it? I feel like the detection here is
that's
key.
wrong.
Yeah, no, cannot see the lurkers.
I remember playing a reverse race PvZ against you, and you actually discovered how annoying it is when you keep losing your observers over and over again.
I was so salty.
Yeah, as Protoss, it's very rough against this army composition because obviously there will always be an overseer.
You have no scans, man. It's like the closest you get to a scan is an Oracle, but even that can die.
Yep, and you don't have access to a Stargate. You can't just build a Stargate when you're on 2 bases for just an Oracle.
If
it's
you're
too
as bad
expensive.
as me, you can.
So good hold, man. Excellent hold by Neeb. I really love the way he was moving those Stalkers around, trying to get a couple of free volleys off before really eating too much damage. Also good moves by Hydra, repositioning those lurkers. But overall, I think that Neeb is very happy with how that went. The moment you've got your fort base on the way, you've got double Robo pumping out disruptors. I think Protoss players that are as good as Neeb, they like their position.
Yeah, there's not a crazy amount of lurkers to deal with either. Disruptor goes down, gets quite a few Hydralisks as the lurkers are coming in just a bit late towards that 4th position. But yeah, as you say, great disruptor shots, being able to pump out 2 at a time. We know Neeb is one of those guys who makes the disruptor look so good.
Yeah, that was, I hope the broadcast is PG-13, Nate.
Yeah, we just need to take Neeb's highlights of him using disruptors and put them on the box of Legacy of the Void. Sell a bajillion more copies.
Well, he gets another lurker over there. One of these disruptors does get picked up, but I just feel that normally this is a very rough fight for Zerg. It's just, you know, they're trying to get a good engagement. They're trying to make their lurkers pay for themselves, but running into a Protoss army is very difficult. Running into disruptors is almost suicide, but if you just sit there, then the disruptors will start poking away at your lurkers. So what are you supposed to do as a Zerg, right? Like, you need somehow a flank, you need a phenomenal engagement, but it's very rough to get there. I must say, good lurker spread. I love this counterattack by Hydra as well. Man, Hydra is also so ridiculously good.
You've got to keep those Zerglings active as much as possible. A little bit just kind of running through a lot of shots, but you know, just about disrupting your opponent's ability to micro, and he's kind of diving in on top of this army. The Disruptor's going to throw that shot out. A ton of these roaches get snatched up. There's still a lot of lurkers with this army, though. They are the brunt of the force.
Wow, these counterattacks are devastating. 25 probes have gone down. Neeb obviously paying too much attention to the main fight. I can't blame him because lurkers are scary, but that was phenomenal for Hydra. And that's why Hydra is so good, right? He's always looking for openings, Nate, and he finds it eventually.
Yeah, and there's just so many lurkers with this army. He's morphing against them. He's got 17 lurkers total, Roddy.
Yeah, that's pretty insane. How many disruptors do we got? 6. I mean, disruptors are still super good. I think it could be enough, but you got to be very careful. Having 8 disruptors is a lot nicer. The double kill will go down, but look at Hydra moving forward in 6 disruptors.
Super aggressive. This disruptor does hit 3 of the lurkers, picking off 1 of them, but those lurkers are low health. They need to be finished off. There's so many of them, and the disruptor count is going down for Neeb.
What a game. Both players playing really well so far. Neeb moving a lot of units over there into these lurkers. Does he have an observer?
I don't know if he has the detection that he needs. Yes. There is one over the army. Okay, so he is cleaning this up. He picks off the lurkers. He lost a lot to make that happen. He just has a couple of blink stalkers and a disruptor. 2 more lurkers in the back, and to finish off a lot of these stalkers.
He actually blinked, I think, into it. When
little adventurous there, I'd say.
Oh, one of the stalkers died to the disruptor here. What a sick game already. Game 1, really delivering between Neeb and Hydra. Obviously, we had some unfortunate issues in the start, but the game really picked up, and it seems like it didn't affect the players, which makes me really happy. I mean, that was sick. I can't believe that Hydra was able to put the aggression on against 7 or 8 disruptors. And yes, he ended up losing most of his units, but he also got a lot of damage done. The Immortals are gone. Most of the disruptors are gone. Now the Hydra remixed again, but 4 disruptors, Nate. Yeah,
these disruptor shots could be absolutely crucial. Getting just 1 or 2 on the bottom side. 3 or 4, excuse me. 1 or 2 on the top side, and now retreating back to the sports space. He has the Adept warping in, of course. They do so much damage to those links, to those Hydralisks as well.
I think that if Hydra wants to win this game, it has to happen here, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think Neeb is going to be able to defend his base.
Too much. He takes the supply lead. There's 10 Hydras on the way, but those disruptors are going to be off cooldown soon, and this 4th base is more than exposed, Roddy.
Yeah, the only problem is Neeb's still losing a couple of probes left and right. He lost 6 more, but he is building 4 probes at a time. Hydra is still at 78 drones, but if he loses his sport base, it's great that you have 78 drones.
What are you going to do with them?
Yeah, you can't use them.
What good are drones if you have nothing with which to mine?
Not a whole lot, Nate.
Not a whole lot. Another disruptor shot's going to go out, picking off another Hydralist, dealing damage to the Queens, and GG is called. Neeb takes the first game.
Wow, what a great game it was. I really loved it, man. I think both players played excellent.
Just how scary that is as a pro. Like, just ask any Protoss player, be like, yo, man, what do you do when your opponent's got 17 lurkers outside your base? It's like, well, you press GG because you're dead. But Neeb, with stellar control of those disruptors, making it happen, and then even having the gall, once the disruptors are off cooldown, to be like, okay, I can take this fight and kill the lurkers, and then he actually did. And that was so risky, man.
Yeah, it got really close. That moment where he fights with gateway units and just lurkers. But even going back, even at the first lurker attack that went through the rocks, I think that Neeb controlled his units very well there. He poked with the stalkers, went forward, and then like a certain moment he saw the Hydras on the low ground. He's like, hey, the lurkers are exposed, and he jumps on it. Hydra immediately moving the lurkers back against those disruptors hits as well. Hydra with, you know, we often talk about APM, right? And some players have ridiculous APM, but then you look at it, it's like, you know, what are you actually doing with 380 APM? Like, I don't really see it, just sitting there in your main army. But when Hydra has high APM, you actually see why he has high APM, because he runs around with 12, 14 links, and he always looks for openings.
The counterattack harass was great, you know, and that's the thing that really is a big test of your ability to play this game, is you have to take these fights, you have to do these engagements, get these phenomenal disruptor hits without getting backstabbed by Hydralisk circling attacks. And taking this fight is so incredibly ballsy, because that area of effect damage that lurkers do can destroy armies so fast.
Yeah, but I guess like once you're in range, you may as well just go all the way in, because if you run back, you give up the position, and it's only going to be harder because he had no disruptors left. So he kind of had to go forward. I loved it. That was an awesome game one, and just makes me more excited for the remaining games of this series.
Already feel like this series is going to deliver on the amazing games from both players, as we are loaded in to Ruins of Endion, where we saw that fast lurker push back in DreamHack Austin. Will we see something similar? It's time to find out. In the bottom left position, spawning as the red Zerg from Team Root Gaming, he's Hydra! Trying to reaffirm his dominance over our young Protoss player from the United States of America. In the bottom right, representing Ting, he is Neeb.
Kind of said it in the way the American crowd was chanting his name.
Yeah.
Neeb.
I can get behind it. I can get behind it. The Americans have ownership of Neeb. He is theirs to love and to cherish and to support.
Yep. So you already mentioned it, the fast lurker push, obviously still very fresh in our minds, but we saw something a little bit similar on Frozen Temple, and the most important thing will still be scouting for Neeb, as long as he knows what's going on, and just the fact that he had that one adept there that saw that army incoming, that helps him so much, because that allows him to put his units in the right position. Like, scouting is so incredibly important at the highest level, you know, on the lower level or in my league, you know, like sometimes like I don't really scout, and it's like it doesn't really matter because I'm just like building, I'm just doing my thing here. But all these guys, they are so good, and especially a player like Hydra, if your army is out of position and he can capitalize on any advantage, he will do that immediately, and then suddenly you're forced to take an awful fight against lurkers. So being active with your units, even when you're not dealing damage, even when you're, you know, not in a position to take a fight, is still so incredibly important.
Yeah. And I think it would be a little bit wild if we saw Hydra go for a similar style and pylon block on that third base. So Neeb already trying to just be annoying.
All right, I'm gonna see if he's going to raise the pylon block with a cybernetic score block.
Kev, I think I've only seen that on your stream.
No, it happened here, mate. What are you talking about? Okay, he's not going to do it. Hey, who did this yesterday? Damn it, I've casted so many games. Yesterday we actually watched. I mean, I didn't cast all of them.
I might have been casting on the other stream while that happened then.
I did 16, well, we all together as a casting team, we did 16 best of 5. So obviously it's really hard to keep all the games apart, but I saw, there was Bills against Hydra.
Bills against Hydra?
Yeah, Bills built a cybernetic score on this map.
Nice. I think I saw you try that against Vibe. You built 2 cybernetic scores.
Yeah, okay.
That didn't work out so well for you, Roddy.
No, that was not the brightest moment I've ever had in my soccer life, Nate.
All right, so going for the quick Overlord speed, you think Hydra just wants to scout, or do you think he wants to get cheeky?
I think it's scouting mostly. I think it's so important to figure out what kind of opening you're playing against. Stargate is very popular on this map, and if it's going to be a Stargate opening, you want to make sure that your Overlords can be brought back to safety immediately. You don't lose too many of them. It seems like we have a few network issues once again. Hopefully it can be resolved in the near future, but Yeah, I think it's mostly for scouting purposes. I don't think he wants to go too crazy here.
That's been a growing trend, I think, and it's scarily come alongside the growth of the Baneling sort of style that a lot of Zergs have been doing against Protoss, and just Baneling drops, the aggressive drop play, Legacy of the Void. That Overlord speed is something that you have to respect a lot, even if it is just for scouting, because at any moment it could turn into a drop.
No, I absolutely agree, Nate, and personally, as a Protoss player, I think it's one of these things, like, it bothers me, you know, it's like, oh man, like, he sees everything that I'm doing. I'm sure that a lot of people that play Protoss can identify with that feeling. Of course, you can look at the bright side and be like, well, it's an investment from Zerg, so it's not for free, you know, like nothing in life comes for free. So he does spend gas, he's mining gas, which are drones that are not mining minerals. So as a Zerg, it's a tiny bit of a sacrifice, but I feel, especially if you're worried about whatever opening your opponent might do, I think it's a solid investment. You know, one of the very first Zergs that always got Overlord speed, I think you know who I'm talking about. Not necessarily a top pro player, but a very famous streamer.
Very famous streamer.
Yes. He's like your memester in Prime.
Memester in
or like
Prime.
Yeah, in Crime.
I think I'm completely lost.
Destiny always got Overlord speed.
He's so annoying.
Yeah, and he was very vocal about it.
He's the guy that still masses mutas against Terran.
Well, I mean, but he was just he was a big fan of it, and he always said, like, I don't really understand why some Zerg players wouldn't do it. They sacrifice 2 Overlords and don't see anything. While with Overlord speed, I was gonna
say, I know some like players like Hyun used to do it quite a bit in like WCS early on, but. Okay, I can see it. So the Adept does make its way over to that third base, looking around. We do have a drop Overlord on
exactly.
the way.
One drop Overlord is indeed morphing near the Zelnaga Watchtower, but the first Phoenix is on the way already as well for Neeb. So this Overlord speed is going to help out in many ways, right? This Adept's being very annoying. Should be able to get maybe 2 drones.
Yeah, at the very least, forces a couple of drones to come off the line.
It's nice. Okay. It's very important. Whereas Neeb actually built a very late mothership core on the previous map. I forgot to mention that. This time he did not do that.
But it's not really close to the main base.
No,
so
it's out of position.
Lane drop should get some work done. There is a Phoenix.
Yeah, this
Phoenix
is going to
production,
hurt. It's still going to hurt. I mean, Neeb will see Overlord speed now, but he doesn't see the right drop-a-lord. So these Lings in the main base, they're going to be very, very annoying, and this does a lot of damage.
Yeah, these probes are going to try to run away as still a bit of latency coming in. And obviously a very tense moment, not something you want to try to do with a jumpy game.
Every now and then, Nate, I play my games on the Australian server, and I try to micro...
That best match, man.
Yeah, and I try to micro my probes against Lings in my base. It's not a pretty sight.
No.
So
I try to, you know, I'll be playing, and then you get like TVT, and it's like, oh, let's just drop my tanks, and then it's like the other guy clicks, but he's Australian, so he's got like 10 ping, and you have 200, and you both click at the same time. And it's like, oh, my tanks land, and they all instantly die. I'm like, God.
Yeah, it feels bad, man. Hopefully this can be resolved real soon. Obviously, it's such a big series for both these guys, and we want nothing for them to just, you know, bring out their best play.
We want to see their best play because it's pretty damn good.
And it's a very big moment, one of the bigger tournaments of the year. Obviously, we've got 3 of them. We already had our event in Katowice, which I think was a very successful event. I really enjoyed my time there. The final day, you know, in the big arena, the Spodek Arena, I believe it's called. I think that was awesome. But overall, I think the quality of games is really good, and we had cool storylines. Yesterday, I mean, I've said this a couple of times over the last 2 years, but it was really one of my favorite days in StarCraft 2. Like, I think it was so much fun. We saw so much good StarCraft, and obviously, I hope to continue that here, because this is a very big event, but you know, it doesn't matter how big the prize pool is or what the player lineup is. Like, good games is something you can't control.
That's right. You need to get, it's hard. You can't just be like, hey guys, can you play some really great, would you guys mind doing like the greatest best of 5 PvZ ever played? It's like, well, it's not really that easy to just do that. But yeah, there's been a lot of great StarCraft. You know, of course, we're gonna be going to Montreal for the Summer Championships later this year.
Have you ever been to Montreal?
No, the only times I've ever been to Canada were when we did WCS Toronto and IEM Toronto a couple years back. That's it. It's all my experience.
Yeah, I've been to Toronto as well.
Toronto is really nice.
I'm all about the 6, you know it.
Yes, Kevin. I know more about the 6 than I know any other place in Canada at this point, having spent enough time with you. But that's great. There's so much awesome StarCraft. And I guess for those of you guys that maybe aren't aware of this, since we do have, you know, as you can see, a little bit of downtime here. If you haven't already, you're probably watching this on Twitch, because otherwise you're watching this on a VOD, in which case, ignore the following. You can connect your Twitch account to your Battle.net account. You can actually get a portrait for watching this. They're doing, you can, if you're a big geography fan, you can get a Season 2-6, it's S2-16 under a picture of the country of France.
Yeah, the one of Poland was pretty cool. It's actually ridiculous because I didn't get it because I was there.
Oh, you messed up. I think, okay, so Roddy, I got you.
Yeah?
I think if you're here, I don't know how many people are listening to the English commentary, but I think you can actually get codes here for it as well.
Oh, I need that code.
Yeah.
I mean, it's silly. Like
I was actually a little bit triggered because I stayed up to watch the GSL finals. I don't know if mine's come into my account yet, but I'm waiting for that Korea. I got my Korea portrait coming in.
I watched the GSL finals as well.
Yeah, so we need our Korean portraits.
I mean,
but just another thing, it's super easy to do. Like you just go to your settings, and I think it's under connections into your Twitch account, and then boom, there you go. Just connect Battle.net.
And of course, we have a B stream at this event as well. Something that maybe some people don't know, and there have been a lot of games. We'll do the first 4 best of 5. So basically, we have 8 best of 5s in the round of 16, obviously, because we've got 8 matches. So 4 are going to be on the main stream. We already had Polt versus Uthermal. This is the second one. But 4 best of 5 will also be on the B stream. After that, when we hop into the quarterfinals later today, the last 4 best of 5s of the quarterfinals, they're all going to be on the main. But for, at least 2-3 more matches, there is a B stream as well, so keep a close eye on that one.
I believe that's twitch.tv/DreamHack SC2B. If you prefer In Control making fun of Todd, you can check that out.
It's worth it.
Over there. Definitely worth it. It seems we're going to need a little bit more time. And we are back into the game.
Whoa.
As you can see, crazy stuff was happening when we were gone.
Yep, apparently the 8 links that dropped in the main base have either wiped out the entire mineral line or they just got transferred to the natural. Okay, good to know.
They got transferred, Roddy.
I know.
The probes are safe.
That was sarcasm, Nate.
Keep it safe, keep it secret.
All right, still though, it seems like a pretty successful drop. Obviously hard for us to get right back into it, so is it for the players. But let's just analyze the situation real quick. 44 probes against 45 drones. I think this is one of these things where it was even, right? Like it's very hard to say things were completely even. You always look for an advantage on one side or the other, but 3-4 probe kills, that's not tremendous. It's obviously an investment of a couple of links, the drop alert as well, and a lot of lost mining time, but he got something out of it, so I'd say decent.
Yeah, now the Phoenix are going to go back across the map, get a little bit of harass done. That Hydra den is about halfway complete. +1 attack is on the way, and the robotics facility is just starting up on the other side for Neeb. So I'm guessing we're going to get back into this little Disruptor Reno versus Lurkers, which was pretty exciting in the first game.
That's very fast double robo follow-up, by the way. Is this 5 minutes and 30 seconds, Nate? I can actually see the left side of the clock.
I can't see the clock from here. Yeah, that's true.
So, but I believe this is 5 minutes and 30 seconds. To still be even or even ahead in workers is always a good scenario for Protoss. That's as much as I do know. This time we see muscular augments being researched. Man, our observer is on top of this. Is it Funka? This has to be Funka.
I mean, who else could it be?
If this is not Funka, then everything I know in life is a lie, because this observer is on top.
Yeah. I don't know any other.
That's funny. This Funka.
Based God. All right, so the robos are finishing, and that, of course, tells a little bit of a different story. Is that usually in the current meta tends to throw itself towards those Immortals a little bit more so than Disruptors. I'm not sure if we'll see that Robo Bay, or maybe he just wants to have 2 Robos fast, but most of the time that we've seen this, Roddy, it's been for double Immortal production.
Yeah, but he's going to get Disruptors as well, because Immortals are really good. Gotta be careful, don't want to lose Phoenixes. One does get dropped, 3 survive. I actually find it very important to keep my Phoenixes alive whenever I play, but we see that Neeb makes less of a commit. Whoa, don't lose. That would... Ooh, oh my god, 3 HP. I still think it's very important to keep these alive, especially after a battle happens and the Protoss kind of holds and the Zerg runs back.
Yeah, because then you can pick off retreating units very easily with Graviton theme. That's a great point to bring up.
And that's so amazing. So that's why I think these Phoenixes are incredibly important. Obviously, it's so nice to have some sort of map presence. But yes, the Immortals are great, Nate, but I would still love to see something that's actually great against Hydra. Is this going to be a massive Hydra drop? You what?
Do you think he's playing Terran?
That's sick, and I kind of like this, man, because I really think if these Hydras get dropped in a good spot against pure Immortal, Sentry, whatever else is there, a couple of adepts where they don't have the upgrade yet because the Twilight Council just finished up, I think this is potentially a very cool build order by Hydra. And where does he get these builds from, Nate?
Yeah, I'm not even sure. I haven't seen anything quite like this. There's no banelingness, right? So it's just going to be for Hydra drops.
It's sick. I love it. I think it's very smart. This is going to be very hard for Neeb to deal with, especially because these units on the low ground right now, they have to take quite a tour to go all the way into the main base. And that's rough, man, because when those units run into a bunch of Hydralisks one by one, they often die one by one. This is a sick build by Hydra.
Hydra drop drop coming inside of the main base of Neeb. There's nothing here to deal with this. He can unpower the Twilight Council. He could kill the Twilight Council. This is a tremendous amount of damage output coming from Hydra. And as you said, Kev, he's going to have to move those forces over. There's the Photon Overcharge, but not enough to deal with this.
Yeah, one more pylon is there. Could potentially drop Photon Overcharge, but will just die immediately. There's still a couple of Hydras on the low ground as well. Neeb did leave units behind, but Neeb is in a world of hurt, man. The Hydras do eventually get cleaned up. Is that what's happening over here?
He's fighting two battles on two fronts, but Neeb defends his fourth base. He's cleaning up the attack in the main. The biggest issues, I guess, was the heavy delay on the Blink upgrade. He lost a single gateway and 13 probes.
Yeah, let's not forget about that. That's quite a few probes. And now those units are still stuck in the main base. That means they cannot help out over here. Phoenix is still alive. Phoenix has got a lot of energy. Could potentially be useful in picking up a couple of these Hydras, but more Hydras streaming across the map. I love the way that Hydra is playing over here. This is very smart, very good.
He's super committed too, because if he wasn't able to make this attack work, he'd lose the goal. GG, Hydra ties the series up 1-1. Very interesting and cool play to see out of him.
He is showing us so much diversity and variety in his builds, man.
Especially on this map. It seems like he's had a couple of pocket strategies to throw in and around on it, which is nice to see.
And stuff like this is really hard. Now, what's the best thing that Neeb could have done against it? If he makes more Phoenixes, there is a chance that he kind of sees this coming. And the moment that you drop a bunch of Hydras in the base while their Phoenix is already chasing them, you're going to have units in position. You can wipe in a couple of adepts, a Photon Overcharge. Then the Hydras that get dropped one by one could potentially get killed one by one.
Yep, and that's the ideal scenario. The Mothership Core, of course, has to get over there too. Losing that pylon super early on also cuts the production capability, since you're missing a few warp gates in that spot. And you know, it's just kind of a tough game, right? We had a pretty big break as well going throughout all of that. So the players will be going into game number 3, at least be able to kind of play it out in one whole smooth series, and hopefully we'll be able to keep things going smoothly for the rest of this match.
But just such a good drop, man. That drop did a tremendous amount of damage. Unpowering the gateways, Twilight Council not actually upgrading Blink right now. He's losing a lot of units during this as well. Mothership Core gets picked off with a lot of energy. Sentries get picked off. Immortals do survive, but now these Immortals are way out of position, and then he suddenly has to take a fight on the low ground, and it takes forever for these Immortals to actually make their way back. You know what would be really cool, Nate? If like a Phoenix could pick up an Immortal from afar and then soak up the Immortal towards or suck it towards it and then drop it on the low ground. That would be great.
If you have the ability to lift something that heavy, don't you think, like pulling,
you should be able to drag it as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like
a bed rider.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Oh, what? Nate, damn it. All right, doesn't matter.
Warcraft reference.
We're hopping into Pryan Terraces for game number 3. This is a map that's a little bit Zerg favored, and things are getting fancy already.
That's right. Already a super duper fast spawning pool coming out of our red Zerg in the northwest. Get up for Root Hydra.
Hydra is switching his style up so incredibly much. I'm very impressed by this. He did it in Austin, and he's doing it again.
That's right. And can this man adjust? In the bottom right, the American Protoss player representing Ting, he's Neeb.
And Nate, can you spell best case scenario for me?
BESTCASESCENARIO.
Well, that's what we're looking at right now. This is phenomenal for Neeb. He's actually going for the pylon on the high ground and the gateway, which means that these links, like, yeah, they could start working on the gate, but if he identifies this in time and he's scouting correct, there is a probe heading across the map. This is so good. You chrono boost out the Zealot. You could go for a temporary full wall off. The Cybernetics core should obviously be next to the gate. This is really smart by Neeb. I don't know what triggered him to do this, because I think I'm pretty damn sure I've seen him build a pylon on the low ground on this map before, but this time he's not. Okay, he is warping in the Nexus. That's where
I mean, he can't anticipate. He can't just blindly assume it's going to be the fastest pool possible. But he knows now. He sees it. He starts the core.
You need to chrono boost the Zealot as quickly as possible. And now I really wonder what is going to happen. Is he going to like chrono boost out a second Zealot and dance and just try to keep that Nexus alive? He did spot that the gas is late. Now he knows there is a hatchery on the way as well, I believe. Can we confirm? Did the probe see that? Yeah, the probe did see that. So Neeb knows what he has to do. I think he can keep this Nexus alive. He should be able to keep this Nexus alive with that very fast chrono boost on the first Zealot.
Don't let that Zealot get surrounded. Try to get a good position with it and pull some probes out of the natural.
Yep. I do not think that you can afford to lose this Nexus. I think that would be way too much of a setback. There we go. A couple of probes being pulled. I like the way that he's dealing with this so far. I think he's going to be able to keep this Nexus alive, and if he does, this is a good opening for Neeb.
Yeah, doesn't want to lose probes, though. That is a lot of Zerglings coming to fight onto that ramp with the Zealot, fighting getting in a choke point is ideal here. He's getting an Adept out as well.
2 Zealots is not enough, actually, or a Zealot and Adept's not enough. He still needs to bring the probes. Neeb, your Nexus is starting to run quite low on HP. You're going to be forced to take this fight now. One Adept's actually very smart, because then whenever they start dancing back and forth...
he brings more probes down to try and help hold this Nexus. The Lings are dancing around it, trying to pick it off.
I think he's going to save it.
It's very low. That Nexus down to just 100 hit points.
Zealot is not fighting.
50 hit points. Okay, saves it.
Ooh. Wow.
Be still my heart, Roddy.
Wow.
And, you know, for those everyone wondering, it's okay. Those probes weren't mining for a while, but look at that worker count, 26 to 19.
And now,
grossly favoring Neeb.
You know what's even better, Nate? All those probes are already on the low ground.
At the goal, getting that cash money.
Yep, Twilight Council is going to be the follow-up, so this is an ideal scenario to just follow up with a bunch of Adepts with those Resonating Glaives upgrade, because the worst thing they'll ever do is force out a lot of units, which means you're still economically ahead. So following and opening up like this with more Adepts just makes so much sense. But 2 Adepts right now, they should actually be able to get quite a few drone kills. I will not mind if Neeb decides to sacrifice these 2 Adepts for 4 or 5 drones. I think that would be completely worth it.
Yeah, do everything you can to set him back. Be careful about the speed timing,
Oh,
because you're definitely going to have to worry about that Nexus being a target as well.
I like that he's committing with it, but I didn't like that he committed over there. But I guess these Lings were still slow, so he felt he can get away with this. He's going to get some drones, man. This is an awesome opening for Neeb.
Yep. Just actually, it looks like he just took out one. I guess he doesn't want to lose the Adepts. I still think that with the Link speed, he has to be mindful of a possible just run by to try to finish that Nexus off. It's going to be a threat if he can get any pressure. Hydra, that is.
So even though he didn't kill drones, he did do indirect damage by killing Links and forcing out more Links. That's unfortunate that he's not going to be able to deny this drone from morphing into an hatchery. But overall, this was still very solid. He keeps the Adepts alive, which means he's going to have more Adepts for his follow-up push when he's going to have those Resonating Glaives.
Yep, and that upgrade's super important, of course. These Lings, if they can get this around, yeah, the Shades have not been thrown out, so these Adepts will both die.
Okay, well...
What does he have in the natural?
Everything I just said was a lie, Nick.
Why would you lie to me, Roddy?
I don't know.
I thought you loved me.
Yeah, well, I'm just doing my thing to hype up the cast.
Okay, that's fair.
I mean, if he ends up losing them, then obviously hindsight is 2020, but he should have just committed and sacrificed these Adepts for 3 or 4 drones in the natural. That would have been a lot better than just losing them in the middle of the map. But hey, that's something that Neeb could not have possibly known. He didn't really know exactly when speed would finish up after that opening. But still, the follow-up push, the Roach Warren is halfway done. But I think if he sends his Adepts across the map right now, he's going to be able to do damage. And once again, he's still ahead in workers.
Yep. That worker count, so important to be able to keep the lead over the Zerg as he takes his 3rd base.
Yeah, and this is going to be hard for Hydra, man. Hydra's going to have to produce 6, 7, 8 roaches to even deal with this. And even then, how is he always going to have roaches in the right position? Because there's going to be probably a War Prism in the main.
I mean, we've seen Neeb do this to Hydra on this map at the DreamHack Austin Finals.
Yep, and but yeah, that was a different scenario, right? Like, I think the opening...
but I mean, he still moved back and forth. He still creates that pressure, I guess, what I'm trying to say.
Yep. I mean, the War Prism probably heading towards the main. He's going to be able to defend this Nexus as well. A couple of Links do die, or did pick off that pylon, but still, that was good enough for Neeb. I think Neeb is very, very happy with how this game is going, and these Adepts are actually going to be able to kill this hatchery. Yep,
killing this 3rd base would be a really nice pickup for Neeb, and he's basically saying, okay, if I've got my 3rd and you don't have yours, suddenly I don't really have to worry about all that much. All I got to do is just play this game normally.
Now you get in a robotics facility and just start making Immortals. Make sure you don't die. Oh, he already has it done.
As another legendary American once said, that applies to this scenario, when you are ahead, get more ahead.
Oh, I thought you were going to quote Hydra. Immortals are pretty good.
Oh, well, there are a lot of other great quotes I could make about Protoss in this one.
You remember when Hydra took over Immortals? He's like, wow, Immortals are a really good unit, so you want to make sure they fight for you with his neuro parasite. Yeah. Those were the days, Nate.
The days. These Adepts are getting in a tremendous amount of work done here in the natural expansion. 5 drones picked off, 6 now. And of course, everything gets pulled back. That 3rd base is still just about halfway done. And the Hydraless range is coming in, but look at this smooth move straight into the robotic space. Bunker points out. That is meaning we're going to see some disruptors, and we know how good Neeb is with disruptors.
It's hard to really put in words how incredibly far Neeb is ahead over here, and he's just getting further and further ahead with every drone he picks off. Army supply, it looks even, but he can never die because of Photon Overcharge. And worker supply, well, that tells the tale of this game.
That War Prism's like the shovel, you know. Every time he drops these Adepts, he's just digging Hydra a little bit deeper into the ground and making it more and more difficult for him to climb out.
This is really awesome play so far by Neeb. Obviously, he had a build order advantage, but just because your build order is good, that doesn't mean that you're automatically in a good position. It still comes down to execution.
We've seen Marine King win with Command Center first versus 6 pools, Roddy. Anything can happen, but Neeb has played this beautifully.
Yep, I mean, keeping the Nexus alive early game. It got close, it got very, very close, but he did what he had to do, and that was the most important thing from that point on. He knew that he was just going to be further ahead with follow-up pressure. I loved everything that Neeb did this game, and I can hype this up as much as I want, but Nate, the writing is on the wall. Neeb is going to absolutely win this game on Prying Terraces.
Yep, he's got a phenomenal army. The Warp Prism was damaged enough that he wanted to pull that back a little bit. I'm surprised the army's retreating. I feel like he could make a really easy play on this third base.
Yep, with force fields as well. You don't want to give too much time. Like, if you're ahead, that's awesome. He did everything right. Getting a fourth base here, like, I don't mind it because he's 23 workers
He really
ahead.
doesn't want to throw the game away, which I can respect. Getting a Disruptor out is going to ensure that he won't be caught off guard by any random lurkers that he was able to rush out. We know that there's not a lurker den, and I think he should be aware, but you know, anything is possible. So he's just tightening all the bows on his ship.
Yeah, I mean, like, instead of looking at this from Neeb's point of view, let's take a look at it from Hydra's point of view. What can Hydra do if you had such a rough game where almost nothing went your way? What is the one way that Hydra can somehow possibly win this game that he's absolutely not to win, supposed to win anymore? I'd say turtle up, like get as many disruptors as you can and just try to drag this one out. Try to bait your opponent in a bad fight, because I don't think that a Hydra Ling attack or a Hydra Ling Ravager attack is ever going to work. This is very nice though. I must say I'm very surprised that where is Neeb's army? I guess it's out on the map.
Yeah, he's moving out towards that third base. That Disruptor is actually blocked by a Changeling as that War Prison brought some Adepts in to move the army to the side. And there we go. There's the overcharge there. So now this third base is going to be absolutely eviscerated. Force fields preemptively planted down. Corrosive Bile is not going to be used against him. And that Disruptor shot goes out, hits 2 of the Ravagers with the Hydra. Additional force fields locking this position. GG, Neeb goes up 2-1 now, a single map away from eliminating the Korean Zerg player from this tournament.
Yep, from eliminating the guy that just beat him a week ago in the finals of DreamHack Austin. Hydra there asking himself, why did I open up 12 full with such a big commitment? I guess Hydra was just hoping to find the Nexus first on the low ground, or, you know, Pylon at least on the low ground and maybe no wall up. That's kind of what you're hoping for there, but facing the build that he was facing, did it get close? Yeah, it got very close, but at the same time, Neeb kind of defended in a greedy way, because he's like, I'm so confident here that I don't even want to take a silly fight. I don't even want to give you the 2-3 probes that you could potentially get here. I'm going to give you like nothing. And in the end, well, he lost pretty much nothing other than HP on the Nexus.
He was so close to losing that Nexus as well. Like, and I like that you bring that up, because he didn't want to lose the probes trying to take that fight, waiting for the Adept. Okay, that's great. But if Hydra kills that Nexus, even if, you know, there's that probe lead, you're only going to be able to saturate yourself so much. But being able to immediately saturate the gold because the probes were down there defending it, that's such a huge advantage for Neeb to be able to get. And I really like that you pointed that out, because I think Hydra's only hope was to have killed that Nexus to prevent himself from being behind.
No, I couldn't agree more. And if he kills that Nexus, doesn't mean that Hydra's going to win the game. No, I wouldn't even go that far, because he would be gasless for a while. So it's not like he can follow up pressure, but it would be very good. It would definitely be a lot better than it actually turned out to be. But with that Nexus surviving and no probes going down after opening up 12 full, well, every Zerg has been there, guys. It gets very, very, very hard to win, especially with the follow-up that Neeb had. Neeb played a perfect early mid-game with the Adepts, with the Warp Prism Adepts, killed a ridiculous amount of drones. I mean, I loved everything about it. It just made sense.
Yeah, absolutely great game here by our Ting Protoss player, representing the United States, carrying that banner, I think, in a great match that we have had so far. Can he close it out? We're going to Dusk Towers. And as we can see, we have the Red Zerg player who needs to win 2 games in a row to keep his dreams alive. Representing Root Gaming, he's Hydra. Facing the foreign terror that has risen up this year, looking to finally beat this man on land. Give it up for Ting's Neeb.
Did you see that? He was a little indecisive there with the probe. He built a pylon and then he was sending out a probe to maybe probe scout or warp in a gateway, and then he changed his mind and he just sent it back and he's like, no, you know what? No scout.
No scout.
Gateway.
No scout life. The no scout life, Roddy. Tell me about it.
Well, I like to live dangerously too, Nate.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's my opening line.
Yeah, I think that's a fun way to play StarCraft when you can do those bold things because, you know, I guess the numbers are a little bit different now in Legacy of the Void since the way that the clock works is different. So it's kind of like normally in the older games it would have been what, about over a minute of mining time was about 40 minerals. So that would be now like 43 seconds is 40 or so minerals in Legacy of the Void. So keeping a probe in your base just for a little bit, like half a minute, that's already just a little bit more money to get that, either that first Nexus, your second gateway, your gas is up a little bit faster. And in a professional setting like this, that can make all the difference.
Cool opening over here. It's a double gate. And I think with a double gate opening, you're kind of hoping to face a gasless Zerg. So this probe is going to, you know, make its way into the main base. And then he's going to see, wow, you've got an extractor. I think he's a tiny bit sad about that, unless he would be worried about a super all-in. That obviously double gate can help as well. But when you open up double gate, from my experience, you hope to find a gasless Zerg, because that means that your adepts can do a lot of damage, because slow links are going to have a nightmare trying to catch up with adepts, shifting between bases back and forth.
Yeah, the adepts, of course, without resonating glaives, you're not really doing too much against the speedlings, but this is still a map that's big enough where we really can see the full range of the Protoss versus Zerg matchup. I mean, a bit of aggression here and there. I certainly expect it from both players. Neither of these guys are your slow, turtle up, passive, you know, let's just draw a line in the center of the map, NR20. Like, that's not how we're going to see this play out. So how aggressive they get, I think, is going to be an interesting choice. But already I like this. Really fast Stargate opening as well from Neeb.
Yep, and it's going to be Overlord speed for Hydra. And one thing I'm a tiny bit worried about on this map, I know that Hydra won this map, DreamHack Austin, guys, don't worry for the people who start shouting at me. But he won it with, you know, a build where I think that Neeb underestimated it a little bit, like all the Lings and the Banes, he just didn't have the right composition to deal with the amount of Banelings.
He just got absolutely destroyed by what felt like mass Baneling.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much what it is. It was mass Ling Bane that made its way through.
Into the Broodlord play as well.
Triggered all those barriers, but I think Neeb would never make that same mistake twice. If he finds that he's going up against the same army, he's going to have a few more Archons, he's going to split his army a little bit better, he's just going to be more careful overall. So that is something that I don't think we're going to see necessarily again. Drop a Lord, by the way, on the way already. But one other thing that Hydra does so incredibly well, that he also did very well in Frozen Temple, even though he did not win that map, he still was good with it, were the run-bys. And, you know, just like running around trying to find an opening. But on Dust Towers, there's only one opening into the first 3 bases. And that is one thing I think is going to be a little bit rough for him.
No pylon, actually, in that mineral line. So when this Mothership Core pops out, there won't be too much that she can do to help aside from firing her slow attack.
Yeah, but there are 3 adepts, though. That's why the double gate helps out as well. Even when he sends 1 adept across the map, he's still going to have enough adepts at home to deal with his Link drop. And it's annoying, but does it really accomplish anything? No.
All right, and there's the overcharge just to make sure that those Lings won't be too much more of a nuisance. +1 melee coming in for Hydra,
Same build,
so
I think.
Setting himself up. Yeah, exactly. Very, very similar in terms of how he'll be able to bounce off these upgrades into a super, super aggressive attack. Lair is coming in. The Phoenix can do a great job of scouting out this sort of thing. I think, of course, they can be a great deterrent to the drop harass as well. How much will he be able to pick up reading with this Phoenix Scout?
Yeah, I think that Hydra is definitely going to go for that Ling Bane composition at first. We'll probably see a Hydraless Den as well go down, but I'm expecting to see a Baneling Nest go down in the near future. Otherwise, I'm not exactly sure why he would get +1, unless he just wants to go Hydra Ling, but it doesn't make sense to me. So I think we're going to see a very similar Hydra to what we saw in DreamHack Austin. But once again, I believe that Neeb has learned from that game. That is a composition that, you know, if you have limited skill like myself, I think it's very hard to deal with. But these world-class Protoss players, like, who was it yesterday? Was it Showtime in Game 5, right, on Invader? But like, these guys are so incredibly good in dealing with Banelings in like the final game of the
that epic force field ring around himself, man.
And just stuff like that, you know, I feel like these guys are good enough to avoid the big Bane connections. So we'll see, like, where's Hydra going to take this? And if he does take it the Bane route down, even though we see the Hydra then go down first, I think that Neeb's going to be capable of dealing with it.
Yep, let's see that. +1 melee is done. He can go straight into +2 if he so chooses. Okay, it's going to be +1 range. So still the Hydralisks will be a key component of this army, although the Speedlings with +1 are always going to be a threat. Is he going to go for the faster Hive is the thing that I'm most curious about. Is it going to be Ling Hydra into something else with Lurkers, or is it going to be that, you know, Ling Bane sort of style?
Well, he's getting muscular augments before any quick super Lurker dance, so maybe it's going to be a little similar to what we saw on Runes of Endian, but this time I think it's going to be a lot harder to drop. It's just harder to drop on this map in particular, especially with 5-6 Phoenixes hovering around on this map. Hydra is on 55 drones, which is not a good scenario, Nate, at all, against the 63 pros of Neeb. Very strong economic start so far for Neeb. He's getting few more free guns as well, free Hydra list too. This is a rough start for Hydra. We do see that Baneling Nest being morphed in right now, and the infestation pit. Hydra, where are you taking this?
Did the Phoenix see that is a good question. Okay, so as Funka points out, definitely saw the Baneling Nest, but not the infestation pit. I think what you just said is a great point, though, because the larva now has to go back into restoring the drone count. He's got 5 on the way, but even that's not going to actually put him even with Neeb.
Is there a drop alert somewhere on the map that tried to drop +1 melee Zerglings? Like, he has one.
No, it shows up.
Oh, whoa!
Correct.
I just feel things, Nate.
Wow, Roddy. You're about as good at sensing things as In Control is at crunching numbers.
Whoa, why you make fun of me like that? Like,
what are you talking about? In Control's great at crunching numbers.
I couldn't even see that side of the minimap, by the way, guys. Our preview screen is a little box, so that was absolutely not a thing, as in I saw it, but I just felt
it. It's okay, Kev. you know what? You can't steal all the Reddit appreciation threads, you know?
No, you know, one event and I'm satisfied now. I'm easily satisfied.
Don't take them all. Double Immortal production is on the way as that Hive is halfway done. Baneling Speed is coming in, and Neeb is just kind of rolling along here. He's definitely in a comfortable position, as you mentioned, from how this game played out earlier, but we've seen what that Ling Hydra Bane or that Hydra Bane style can do. But the awareness, the map presence of the Phoenix is one of the most important things to make sure that he doesn't get caught off guard by this.
Yep, I definitely think that Neeb is very happy and satisfied with how this game has played out so far. The Phoenixes did a great job, did not take any damage of any Ling opening. Whenever you open up with +1 melee, it's not the biggest investment in the world, but it's the type of investment that you want to see some sort of return, and Hydra has not had any return on it at all. The second drop did nothing. He didn't deny the third base. He's getting +2, so of course he can, like, you know, do something with it in the future, but I don't think Hydra is happy with this game so far at all. I don't know what kind of timing he could potentially hit. There is a Spire on the way, but there are still enough Phoenixes alive that a murderless Twitch is absolutely out of the option, but there is already the Hive, so most likely he's gonna go for those Broodlords again, Nate, that you mentioned. But I think this time, Neeb will strike before those Broodlords are out.
Stalkers are going to get warped in to defend against these Zerglings, trying to poke in towards that third base as Neeb's on the map. And yeah, they absolutely tear through these Stalkers. They don't have Blink, so they can't even maneuver all that well. But as this attack comes in, 25 Banelings, Adrenal Glands +2. Can he make the play here before those Banelings get a good position?
I mean, this is very similar, man. It's almost like a mirror image, but then they spawn on the other side of the map. So what we saw in DreamHack Austin, back then Hydra got phenomenal connections on his Banelings, but this time there are way more sentries, and I think force fields are going to be able to keep Neeb safe. Blink is about to finish up. This is his moment before that great Aspire is done. Here we go, Nate.
Yeah, great force fields cutting off the Banelings already. Just continues to donut them. They cannot get across the force fields by that hatchery. Some do come in from behind, but great splitting prevents the threat. The Hydras are being chewed apart now as the Zerglings and Hydraless reinforcements try to come in, but that base is going to get picked off. Neeb blinks forward looking for more damage.
Yeah, this was awesome, man. Killing that fifth base over there. The Bane's not really connected. Oh! Okay.
Hitting quite a few of the Stalkers there. The sentries are still intact with the Immortals, though, the most important parts of this army.
Gotta be careful over there, but a few more force fields go down. It still looks really good for the American Hope. He lost against Hydra in Austin, but I think this time, Nate, it's good enough for Neeb. He's dropping more force fields.
He pushes through. GG! The American Protoss player secures a 3-1 against the Korean winner of last week's DreamHack Austin, Neeb.
He was confident going into this series, and he showed us why. This was awesome play by him. Hydra obviously looking devastated, would have loved to go further in this tournament. This is the big one, Nate. $150,000 overall. But it is going to be the American hero Neeb that gets his revenge on Hydra after losing to him in Katowice, after losing to him in DreamHack Austin. This time he will prevail and move on to the quarterfinals. And
it feels good, especially since, as you mentioned, you know, one of the things that he talked about is his nerves. You're on that big stage at the grand finals. Everyone's cheering your name, that awesome hometown crowd. But Neeb that's been his story this year, at least for me, as it's been gradual progression where he's been improving at every event that he's been playing at. He's been getting less nervous.
Yep.
We thought he was mostly nerve-free until the grand finals at last week, and I think that was one of the reasons why he made it so far. And now, defeating the guy that just stole that grand final from him only a week ago. How many people stand in this guy's way? How many people can stop him now?
And can we talk about the execution one more time in this boost? I mean, I almost feel by this moment it was already over. These were good connections, but it's one of these moments where you can safely say it's a little too late. It's all about that fifth base fight where a couple of Banes came in from the south side as well, but they just splashed over an Immortal that popped his barrier. The line of force fields was phenomenal, and the follow-up was even better. I mean, all the credits in the world to Neeb, man. He really deserved it. He played awesome StarCraft.
And I love the sort of weirdness that we saw Hydra throw out as well, especially on Ruins of Endion.
That was a great
Seems to be a map that he has a very good grasp on, but Neeb just playing a bit more cool, calm, collected, and able to progress forward. Let's hear it from the man himself, Neeb, on the main stage with Smix.
Thank you very much, Nathanius. Neeb, this is a phenomenal result. It started out at Katowice at the Winter Championship. It was a very close 3-2 loss. Then at Austin in the Grand Finals, you lost again to Hydra 4-2, and now today you have gotten revenge. You've defeated him when it mattered here at the Spring Championship. That has to feel so satisfying.
Yeah, it feels great. That's really all there is to say.
All right, well, let's go into more detail about the matches themselves. Obviously, because you've played Hydra so many times, I'm sure you are very familiar with this style. So because of that, did that, when you went into this series, did you have a game plan for every map?
Yeah, Hydra plays very differently from most Zergs, and I feel really confident against his style, so I feel like I can just do what I normally do, like on ladder and stuff against him, and it seems to work out fine. That was my game plan here.
So in the series, it was just map 2 where he had the drop in your main. Was that the one time where you were caught off guard in the series?
Yeah, it was surprising. I don't know why more Zergs don't do that. I think just Hydra drops are really good, and Protoss really doesn't have much early on, and we just kind of rely on force fielding them out, at the 4th base. So if they can just avoid the force fields by dropping in my main, it's really tough to defend.
Well, now that you have defeated Hydra, you are moving forward toward the top 8. Your next opponent is either going to be Nurchio or Scarlet. Now, what do you feel about those two Zergs? Obviously, both are very, very talented players, but is there a preference there? I know I saw you chatting with Scarlet, so you seem to be good friends.
I don't think I really have a preference. I kind of take each map, game, I kind of take my matches game by game. I don't really prepare for my future opponents, because I feel like if I beat my current opponent, that's good enough. So I'll have to prepare sometime tonight, but I don't really care which one I play.
All right, well, sounds like confident words. Congratulations again on moving forward here at the Spring Championship. Of course, as we just mentioned, Scarlet and Nurchio will be the next matchup coming up after this commercial break, so stay tuned.